Greetings, beautiful being. Welcome back to my channel, Rising with Rachel. I am Rachel, and together we rise and talking about all things cosmic and consciousness. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you're feeling like you want to share a little extra love. Maybe leave a comment down below, as it does help the silly little human earthly algorithm. As much as I don't want to be a part of that, I do want to be a part of spreading the messages that are so deeply needed to be planted in the seeds of the collective consciousness right now, so that they bloom at the divine time that they are supposed to within each and every one of us, so that we can help Earth raise her frequency and embody fifth dimensional planet that she was always meant to be. And it starts with you and me and our awareness. So let's get into it. So today I want to talk to you about plant medicines. So I have sat with a few different plant medicines along my spiritual journey. The first thing that I want to say about plant medicine is that it will call you when it's time. It will call you, and it will also foreshadow itself in your life without you even realizing. So for a personal example, I had a experience maybe like 2 months ago where I was doing a photo shoot to relaunch my podcast, and a frog came up amongst my photo shoot. We have the whole thing on film even, where I was like, look at this little frog, it's so cute. Why a frog? Why specifically? Why couldn't it be a snail? It was a frog, and the frog was foreshadowing the fact that I was going to be sitting with frog medicine about 2 months later. It's the same thing with your memories. There are specific things that happen in your life that stand out because you're supposed to remember them at a different time to realize that they were a sign that they were connected. And it was the same thing with this frog. The second I booked my ceremony, I was like, oh my God, remember that frog from my photo shoot? Pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to the callings, pay attention to the feeling inside of your body, and allow yourself to go with the flow. If the medicine is calling for you, then now is the time to work with it. And it's because you're supposed to, because the medicine has something to teach you. Yesterday, I had the honor of sitting with Kambo for the first time, and it was beautiful. I actually sat with 3 medicines yesterday. There was Hapé, Kambo, and Sananga, and these are all medicines that come from the Amazon rainforest in South America. The first one, Hapé, is tobacco with a mixture of root, and depending on what tribe is making the Hapé, they include different herbs, roots, and such. Kambo, which is the star of the show, is a frog secretion, although it is labeled as frog poison in things that you will find when you Google it yourself. And Sananga is something that is put in your eyes that is also from a specific root, which actually prevents a whole onslaught of different things that could be going wrong with your eyes, but also helps with memory and critical thinking skills, which I think is pretty cool. And today I wanted to talk to you about my personal ceremony, my first time, because I did the worst thing that you can probably do before going into one of these ceremonies, which is Googling it, which is watching other people's videos, which is having this fear that was planted in my brain from watching people's experiences. Most were fear-based, and it made me really nervous. It made me really anxious, and the whole experience itself was actually something so beautiful, so transformative, and was nothing like I saw to the degrees of which I saw it. So I wanted to share my story with you, so that in case you are one of those people that are doing the thing you're not supposed to be doing, by the way. So for your next medicine, maybe let's not look things up first. Maybe this will allow your fear to subside, and you will feel more confident going into your ceremony and not as nearly scared as I was for literally no reason. The first thing I want to say about this whole ceremony is that it required so much of me to show up for myself. Like, I was absolutely terrified when I looked up Kambo. It was frog poison. It was all of these people having puffy faces, saying that they felt like they were on fire, and all these really dramatic things. And I was scared, but something that I processed was that it was my ego that was scared, because essentially what you're going into a ceremony like this for is to purge, is to clear, is to take out the blockages that are in your body that you might not even feel, because our emotions become physical, right? And something that I know is that I have done a lot of inner work on myself, my mental, my emotional bodies, and I could feel like something in my physical body needed to purge. There was something still within me, and obviously it's not all cleared in one ceremony, but I do feel significantly lighter, and that was due to the ceremony. But I knew that my ego had a hard time with dealing with change. A part of my ego knew that it was going to have to die through this release in the ceremony. And that's essentially where my fear was stemming from. It was stemming from the comfort of being uncomfortable, when all you've ever known your entire life is fear fear, is resentment, is anger. Your emotions and your body want to stay in that because it's what's comfortable. Even if healing makes you happier, your brain doesn't process that because your brain still gets that off as something new, something that's never been done before, something that you don't know what's on the other side of that. And that's scary to your brain. Change is scary for your brain, which is why we are so natural to resisting it. But I knew that this screaming that I had inside of me that was like, don't go, find every excuse to not go, was the exact reason that I had to show up, because I was like, this voice that I'm hearing, this is connected to those parts of me that need to go, that need to be transmuted, that need to be alchemized, because respectfully, you have done your duty. Thank you to all the fear and the anger and the resentment. They have all served their purpose, but I no longer want to live with this in my body. I want to be free. I want to be clear. And so I had to show up for myself. And that was 90% of the battle. Truly was 90% of the battle was showing up. And that's something that I've been told by a few friends with plant ceremonies, is that the biggest struggle of it all is to just show up for yourself. Simply, like, you have to be the one to decide. It does not matter what I feel or face. What I know I'm going to get out of this is what's worth it to me. And the importance that you place on that is how much you'll navigate it. To be honest, if you don't prioritize your healing, you're going to find the excuse to not show up to the ceremony. And I'm tired personally of succumbing to excuses in the name of comfort. So I knew I had to go, and I did, and I showed up, and I was terrified. But get this, I showed up to the ceremony and everybody canceled. So it ended up being just me in ceremony. And it was incredible because this space was held for me to just have all eyes on me, which actually comforted so many of my fears. It was magnificent that Spirit had this orchestrated so that I could be the only one in ceremony with all eyes on me. Obviously, that's not going to happen every time, but I feel way more confident now to go into group ceremony. Nonetheless, if it is a group ceremony for your first time, know that it's so comforting to be surrounded by other people. You know, when you think about purging, you don't really think of being comfortable, being perceived by people that are around you as you yak and you have snot coming out of your nose and all this really fun stuff. But it is so healing to have people hold space for you there. And when you know that everybody else that's there is coming to do the same clearing, I'm telling you, the fear of judgment just is completely wiped away from you. And when you're in the ceremony and you're sitting with the medicine, it is the last thing on your mind that you are being judged by others. So no matter what your experience is, just know that it is all beautiful nonetheless. It just happened to be for me. Somehow I was the only one in ceremony. So ceremony started off with information about all of the medicines. It started off with prayer, giving thanks to the medicines, the lands that they were found on, the beings and plants that they derived from, all of the people that have come before us to teach us about these medicines, thanking the cultures. It was so much gratitude and so much anchoring in the heart space. And you know, that's what ceremony is. And it was beautiful and it was comforting, and it helped me start to understand the medicines and quiet those fears that I initially felt. And obviously I was still scared. This is stuff I've never done before, so I had no idea what to expect besides the horrible videos that I had chosen to look up online. But one of the most important things I can share with you is that you have to just decide to walk through that fire. You have to be the one to say, I'm sitting with this, I'm showing up for myself because I prioritize my healing. Nobody's gonna do this work for me. I know that I'm safe. I know that I'm supported by the universe, and I'm going to face this. And again, that's 90% of the battle. So the ceremony started off with prayer, and then we started with breath work. We started learning about how it is that you're supposed to breathe, how it is to place your consciousness through your breath so that you can really pay attention to what's going on, how you can control it, so that when you work with the medicines, you can also work with your breath through the medicines. And that was revolutionary. And hands down, the breath work in the beginning was something that I definitely needed because it set me up for success with the rest of my ceremony. So the first medicine that we started with was the Hapé, which is the tobacco-based medicine. And this is used with a pipe that the shaman, whoever is leading the ceremony, will place in one of your nostrils, and they breathe through the pipe and it shoots into your nostril. So fast, so intense, so overwhelming, because you're also told that you can't breathe through your nose, that you have to breathe through your mouth. So you're sitting there like, it hits you intensely and it shoots so fast that it feels like it touches your eyeballs. But because of the breath work that I had just done, that experience was so magnificent because I was so overwhelmed. But in that moment of being overwhelmed, I had to work with my breath, and I had to work with my consciousness through my breath, because if I was trying to not breathe through my nose and I felt all of that in my head, I had to sit there and deeply think about my breathing. I had to go And because you feel so overwhelmed by everything that just hit your brain, you want to breathe out of your nose. But at the same time, you're dealing with these fears of what happens if I accidentally breathe through my nose. I was just told not to. Is it dangerous? Am I okay? Am I safe? All of these things start circulating, but it all just kind of quiets down as you focus on your breath. And it becomes so powerful when you sit with your breath, because you realize you can control the feeling of discomfort through your breath. Like, I truly was channeling my energy through my breath and kind of was envisioning that as I pulled in through my mouth, the energy was like circulating like this throughout my body. Like, it would start this way, go under, over. Like, that's the way I was working with my breath through that really uncomfortable experience. And then I was ready for the next one. Boop, he shot it up my next nostril. And I felt the call to spit up a little bit. I know some people feel this really intensely and need to purge in the same way that they do with the Kambo. I didn't feel that way, at least for my first time. It was definitely intense. My eyes definitely started tearing. Again, I felt like I had to spit up a little bit, but it was mostly just me needing to focus on my breath. And afterwards, I felt the craziest high of my life. I felt so light in my head. I felt a little bit dizzy, but I knew, again, that that was an invitation to use breath work to ground myself with my energy and to place my breath in my belly and to ground my energy to Mama Gaia, Pachamama, Mother Earth. And when I was able to do that, I really sat with the medicine in a meditative state so quickly, and it was so beautiful. It was so cool. And that process was to set you up for the Kambo, which was the next medicine. So with the Kambo, you are instructed to drink about a liter of water before you have the medicine placed on you. So you basically have to get to the point where you kind of already want to throw up from just drinking so much water. It worked for me because I definitely could up my water game in my personal life. So the amount that I had to drink in such a short amount of time already made me nauseous, but I knew I wanted to be as ready to show up for this medicine as I could be. I knew that I was here to purge, so I kept drinking water even beyond the point I was supposed to, because I just wanted to be in that space where I was so ready for the clearing. So the second that I was pretty much just nauseous from drinking water was when I was instructed that it was time to place the Kambo on me. So the way that the Kambo is administered is through burns on your skin. So the shaman, the person guiding the ceremony, will usually take incense and they put little holes on your skin, and it only burns through the first layer of your skin. And it's important that you obviously go to a practitioner, somebody that has been taught this medicine. Indigenous tribes that have been doing this for thousands of years, people that are really deeply connected to the medicine because they know how to work with this in a non-lethal way. Kambo can be dangerous when it enters your bloodstream, but that's why they are only burning through the first layer of your skin, because it actually works with your lymphatic system, which is really incredible to learn about. So essentially what I learned about Kambo is that it is a frog secretion. It is a frog poison that is scraped off the backs of frogs, then eventually administered to the person. But there is so much that goes into collecting Kambo that is really important, because you don't want to be taking medicines or improperly stolen from animals. You don't want to ingest or work with a medicine that is energetically tainted because it was exploited from the animal, or the animal was hurt in the process, because you carry that energy. And that energy becomes very, very present amongst your sitting with the medicine. So it's really important to know who is administering the Kambo, where they got the Kambo, who they've worked with in the past, what their credentials are. And in my ceremony, I got all of those answers, and it was really, really beautiful. My shaman, my guide, was somebody that has worked with indigenous tribes in Brazil, in Peru, in Mexico, and I felt so safe and got to learn more about how even the process of getting the frogs to come out of their natural habitat is something that should be sacred with this medicine. So for example, it makes a very big difference energetically how the frog is even gotten, right? There's a difference between somebody going out and catching a frog that doesn't want to be caught and already building up that lower vibrational energy with the medicine, versus somebody that knows the power of this medicine, that honors the medicine, that honors the spirit of the frog, that honors the land that they are on, and sings songs to the frogs that actually pull them out of their environments and makes them come to people. And it is more of a natural process where they are more able to ethically, morally correct than wipe the secretion off of the frog. The frog is doing this in a state of comfort, not a state of panic or discomfort or harm, and that's super, super important. So after learning about the Kambo, drinking my water, I got my burn marks. I put them on my ankles because there's a few different places that you can get your burn marks, which would be either your ankles, your forearm, or your bicep. After talking with the shaman, with the person administering the medicine, I decided that I wanted to go with it on my ankles because there's a difference in between masculine energy on your right side of your body, feminine energy on the left side of your body, but also the way that the medicine hits, the intensity that it hits at, the quickness that it hits at through different spots on your body, the ways that it travels through your body. And I wanted to do my left ankle because I wanted to work with my divine feminine energy and work on healing that. But also through the legs is recommended for women because the medicine travels up and has the opportunity to work with the womb space, because a lot of women carry a lot of trauma through their lineages, through their own experiences around the womb space. And I was going in with the intention to heal some physical assaults that have happened, and one of them being around my womb space. So I wanted to work with the medicine in those areas. So I decided to go on my ankle, and I was told that the medicine will take longer, maybe like 5 minutes more to process on my ankle, because the medicine has to work up as opposed to just like already kind of being in like the main area. And that's not at all what happened. Within 3 minutes, I was feeling queasy. I was like, I'm gonna throw up, I'm gonna purge. Boom, it happened. It was beautiful. It was like a release as I was throwing up. It felt good to purge. I felt everything coming out of me. Normally you're supposed to keep going until something called bile comes up, which is essentially if you've ever had a hangover or food poisoning, or if you've ever been really sick, then you know when you can't throw up anymore and there's kind of like that foamy stuff that comes out, that's bile. So that's when you kind of know it's over. But regardless, you consciously know when you're done and you have nothing else to purge. So I went up after drinking my water, received my burn marks, got the Kambo placed on me, and then sat with it for a few minutes, purged a bit, and after you know that you're done, they wipe the Kambo off of you, so it does stay on you the whole time. And literally within a minute, like I was back up to normal, and I was like, woo, okay, amazing, here we go. So when the Kambo first started, I felt a lot of heat in my body. I was so caught off guard though, because I thought I was gonna feel like I was on fire from what I was hearing in other people's ceremonies. And again, it doesn't matter where you're administered the Kambo, the dosage that you're administered, etc. But all of these people's experiences were nothing like mine. And that's why I made this video, because I wanted to talk about how you can't have any expectations going into this, because if you fear nothing, then you're gonna have something to fear about. And if you fear everything, then your experience is gonna be really light. And that's not even how it goes all the time, right? It's whatever way you think it's not going to be is the way that it's going to be. Like, you can't have any expectations for this, because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's experience is going to need to be different, because there are people that maybe need to sit with that physical discomfort more than I do, depending on the work that I've done within myself. Something that I was thinking about is astrologically as well, because astrology is a specific type of energetic medicine, right? Is I have a lot of fire in my chart. So I was able to sit with the fire element more comfortably, whereas my friend that has sat with Kambo a few times has a way more uncomfortable experience, and she has no fire in her chart, which I think is pretty interesting. So everyone comes with their own specific baggage, and no one knows how that medicine is going to work with your particular set of experiences. So I went in thinking I was going to have frog face, they call it, which is like when you get swollen from the medicine and you feel like you're on fire. Neither of those things happened. I felt, honestly, after I purged, really meditative, and I purged rather quickly, because again, I was drinking that water to make sure that I was on a mission to purge. So I was like, I want it out so that I can get this through as fast as I can. And that's what I did. And the quicker I purged, the more I was actually able to sit with the medicine while it was still on in a meditative state without feeling sick. And that was so incredible, so beautiful. I was feeling the heat in my body. I felt a lot of tingling in my hands and in my feet, which felt really unique. It felt like when you fall asleep on your arm for a really long time and you gotta like go like this and get your feeling back in your arms, but I sat with it. I sat with the discomfort of like not having total feeling in my body, and it was incredible. And it really again taught me how to sit with my breath, how to sit with my consciousness, how that just because I'm in an uncomfortable experience doesn't mean that I have to suffer. The stories that we tell ourselves about suffering, the stories that we tell ourselves about fear and working through that and facing fears and knowing that I was going to be okay, and really just ultimately also surrendering to spirit and surrendering to the greater truth of what is, and my guides and my angelic team and my starseed lineage that is all around me to hold me and support me, as well as the other beings that were in the room, and trusting their powers, their abilities to work with this magic, to work with the energy in the room, allowing myself to be in a place of receiving, which was so beautiful, because I have a hard time receiving. And that's another beautiful experience through these ceremonies, is we really learn how to ultimately get the most out of receiving. And it was so beautiful. And like that, it was over. And then I was invited to sit, lay back, and process through a sound bath, which was beautiful because since I was the only one there, it was like a personal sound bath. I had 2 sound healers next to me, and it was so incredible to hear sound bowls, gongs, these really beautiful, I call them like little fairy charms. I don't know their proper name, but sounds like a freaking fairy forest. It's so beautiful. Just sit with all these amazing sound healing tools and just be doused in the sound. And one thing I will say as well is sitting with Kambo made me realize how healing sound is, because in the moments that I felt a little bit nervous, the music that was playing around me, the sound healing that was happening, it felt safe to sit in that. Like if I couldn't focus on the fear in my body, to focus on the sound and how much the sound carried me into healing. And it was so beautiful. It's like we resonated, we became one. And I realized that I was so safe. I was so divinely protected. And a little bit into the sound healing, after the Kambo, I was offered the Sananga, which essentially is the little drops in your eyes that feel like you have just been maced, but only for about 3 seconds. Like it was really, really quick, to be honest. And it was so awesome to feel again that working through what discomfort you're feeling. So I was like, I'm okay, it's fine, it's fine. My eyes were like crying hysterically. I wasn't crying, my eyes were crying. Let's separate the two, okay? But I felt it in my third eye as well. I felt a little bit of a pulsing, which was super cool because it also deals with directly cleaning out your pineal gland. Yeah, it was just an incredible transformative experience. And this medicine was incredible because it really forced me to be in my body. And as somebody who's fight, flight, response reaction is to leave my body, and the most traumatic experiences that I've endured, I have literally left my body to the point I felt like every day was a daydream for me because I was so removed from myself, because it was a safety mechanism to remove myself from enduring those really horrible experiences. It forced me to be in my body, and it forced me to really anchor in and deal with the discomfort, to sit back in everything that I was experiencing. And it was when I surrendered to the medicine after feeling the discomfort for a little bit that the magic took over. It was complete release. And it was so beautiful because I have never felt that way in probably my entire life. And then yeah, the ceremony was over and I was like, wow, that was incredible. What was I scared of? Literally, what was I scared of? And I'm ready to do it again. I'm still ready to do it again because I know that there is obviously more in my body that has to purge, but that initial experience definitely made me more comfortable to sit with that same medicine in the future, because now I kind of have an expectation on what to expect. And even if it were to be more intense, I now know that I have the tools to breathe through it, to work through it, that I'm guided, I'm supported, that these things are safe to navigate. And it was something that was just so transformative in my healing process, and I'm still sitting with because it only happened yesterday, and I'm looking forward to see what clarity this brings for me in the upcoming weeks. So I will definitely do an update on this video to see where the medicine has left me, what it's brought me, the drive it's given me. I've been told that the after of dealing with Kambo is really important: to eat healthier, to drink more water, to consume less caffeine. If you partake in Mary Jane activities, maybe start not inviting her to as many outings. I'm really excited to see where this goes in terms of opening my vessel, allowing me to be a more open vessel for source, for creative energy, and to work with the fire element more, because I think, again, astrologically, we're all given these placements for a reason, these elements for a reason, and we're here to learn from these elements. And it's so, so, so beautiful. And yeah, I'm excited to see what that looks like, so stay tuned. I wanted to make this video to share my first ceremony with you, so that, again, if you are doing the thing you're not supposed to be doing, which is Googling other people's experiences, you go into this less fearful, because I was definitely really, really fearful. And the one thing that I realized from this ceremony was that when we fear something, we put ourselves through something twice without having to even go through it. Like, essentially what fear is doing is trying to keep you safe, is trying to give you an indication of what you're about to experience. But the thing is, you don't even know if that's going to be your experience. So if you fear something before it even happens, what if that thing doesn't happen and then you feared for no reason? And that's exactly what happened to me. I feared for no reason. So I was like, wow, I can't believe I put myself through all that mental anguish, that emotional anguish of being scared, of being anxious. And it was all just stories, because none of that even happened. Again, even if it does, it's better to not have to put yourself through something twice. Why do you want to put yourself through suffering twice if you don't have to? You just have to be open to the experience that comes and surrender to what's happening. Surrender to the fact that you're being called to this medicine. Just let the experience be what it's supposed to be, because everything that shows up for you is showing up for specifically you, because it's what you need to know, what you need to navigate at this specific time in your life. And that is only something that you are going to know, you are going to be able to work with, you are going to be able to feel, to transmute, to integrate, to alchemize. And it's a beautiful experience. You have nothing to fear. I would do this with you if I could. So definitely, if you've had the calling to work with Kambo, sit with Hapé, sit with Sananga, any of the three or all three in ceremony, please take the opportunity to do so. Do your research. Don't just go trusting anybody. Definitely through word of mouth, hear maybe some friends. If you need any recommendations for the California area, I could definitely let you know about those. But ultimately, don't be scared of what your soul is calling you to do, because it is calling you for a reason. That was my first time sitting with Kambo and the ceremony and other medicines that were involved with it. And it was beautiful. And I hope that you get everything that you're looking for from this video, but also from your experience. I hope that this gives you a certain amount of light, lessens some fears, and helps you have a little bit more courage to do the healing work that your soul is calling you to do. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful, amazing, healing day. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.